Vic Tafur covers the Raiders for The Athletic. He has a great pod about the Raiders as well every week on The Athletic's platform, and he joins us now live from Vegas. Am I reading that wrong, Vic? They were that happy he was gone, they smoked cigars.
That's pretty much it, man. I've never walked into a locker room and smelled just a fake cigar smoke after a game. It was odd. They were dancing there. Max Crosby's doing videos, and the owners hugging him, and it's been a big time party all week since the day after they put in a mini hoop in the locker room, and you got guys wrestling the day after and having fun. So it's been very clear what they felt about the last regime.
Vic, how bad was it?
You know what? I think it just kind of it got slowly worse and worse. There was some problems last year, and they got rid of a lot of the guys from last year's roster. Kind of wanted a reboot this year, but they brought in a lot of former Patriots as well. One of them, Chandler Jones, did not go very well. But so it just kind of got worse and worse. And the key thing for me was it's all about the offense. I mean, Josh is an offensive guy. That's his resume. He has the rings with the Patriots, but they couldn't score 20 points. They couldn't score 20 points in 8 games when you got Davante Adams and Josh Jacobs. So it's very frustrating for fans, even more frustrating for players in the locker room. Like, what's going on?
Vic, there's a story that Jake Glazer had on the Fox pregame show yesterday, something along the lines of Antonio Pierce trying to motivate this team last week, but before McDaniels was fired, by comparing it to his 07 Giants with this attitude that, hey, every time we took the field, we believed we could win. Obviously, that team eventually beat the Patriots, and then McDaniels had pulled him aside and basically gave him grief for talking about the Patriots and maybe read that as personal. Had you heard something similar? I mean, was there tension between Pierce and McDaniels that you were aware of?
I think tension may be a stronger word. I just think that as the players kind of became more disillusioned with the coaching staff, mostly Josh and his guys, I think they turned to Antonio Pierce as kind of a sounding board. I think he definitely is a former player. They mentioned that several times and that bond they have. And he kind of, I guess, talks their language, I guess is a way to say it. So I think he was kind of like a guy they went to in the last few weeks, a guy they turned to, and then this big meeting they had, I'm sure he spoke up. So I just think that maybe it'd been like kind of different sides now all of a sudden of the coaching staff, like, the players guy versus the old fuddy-duddy.
Vic, how long you've covered the Raiders? It's a while. How long has it been?
This is 14 years.
Okay. Compare last week. Where would you rank, let's put it that way, everything that's happened last week, culminating in those cigars last night, on your list of crazy bleep you've seen with the Raiders?
That's a good question, but I've seen so much crazy bleep within the Raiders, I can't even rank them. But definitely the joy. I haven't seen that kind of joy in a locker room. I think we're trying to think back. There was a game in London where John Gruden was dancing because they beat Khalil Mack. That was a pretty happy locker room. This is kind of close to that one, I just think. But yeah, I think, you look at Mark Davis, and he's had this, I think this is his 8th coach since he took over for his dad. And it's just been a rocky road, kind of a roller coaster of ups and downs. And they were definitely on the way down. I think they definitely, I think he saw it as he said it was regressing. So it's been crazy. It's been a crazy week. It's been a crazy 14 years.
Vic, true or false? Mark Davis needs Antonio Pierce to go on a run, prove that he should be the full-time coach. Because of all that turnover you just mentioned, if it isn't Antonio Pierce, nobody else would want this job.
Yeah, I don't buy that. I think there are only 32 of these jobs. And if you come here, the stadium is incredible. I mean, the facility is incredible. So if you're a coach of any kind, all these coaches have egos, all these guys. So you think you can do a good job here, I'm sure. And it's a Robertson. There's talent in the roster. We mentioned Crosby and Adams and Jacobs, and there's some young guys. So there's the cupboard's not totally bare. So I don't really buy that. People can look at the history and say, oh, why would I want that job? I mean, he gave Josh McDaniels a $50 million buyout check. That's not a bad going away gift. So I think guys can live with that if that's the worst case scenario.
I'm totally with you. There's, though, that narrative that it has been such a mess for so long, and he's blown through so many coaches, and he's paying more coaches not to coach than he is to coach, that why would you want that job? But as you said, there are only 32 of them, and he is going to get a new coach if this one doesn't work out. But this one might work out. I know it's only a very, very, very small sample size, but Vic, do you think this is sustainable?
I definitely want to see it. I mean, the players definitely are. They feel like they've been empowered. They think this is their team now. So I think that's a very positive thing. But compared to what was going on, obviously a win over Tommy DeVito, I'm not sure is a huge landmark in terms of like you've arrived and you've made this great change. So I got to see more of it in the next few weeks. But definitely a great start for Pierce and for this team.
Did you fall for that thing going around Twitter last week about Josh McDaniels and Mark Davis and Halloween and all that?
No, because not only, I mean, obviously it's ridiculous, but I know Josh. I know Josh pretty well. I'm not sure I can see Josh in a Mark Davis costume, even letting his hair down all the way. So I couldn't quite picture that happening now.
Yeah, I'm totally with you. And plus, I think they claimed it was from The Athletic. You would know that it wasn't in The Athletic. I immediately saw it and went, well, no. I had read Vic this morning. I don't think that was in his piece.
But they got a lot of people. People were believing it. So hey, more power. That's just the way of the internet and Twitter, whatever X, whatever it is these days. It's kind of who knows what's true, and you just take your guess and hope for the best.
Talking to Vic Tafur here from The Athletic. Aiden O'Connell, he's a statue. He's got a nice arm. He could sling it a little bit. Do we agree we're not going to see Jimmy Garoppolo on the field again this year? I was surprised he was up as the number 2 yesterday.
Yeah, I think it probably shows more like a lack of faith in Brian Hoyer. But yeah, I think Jimmy's not. I mean, if everything goes to plan, he won't play again. I think they want Aiden to kind of take these reps and grow, and they can find out what they have. Do they have a guy who might be a starting quarterback? They have a guy who's a good backup, which is also very valuable in this league, a guy you can rely on. So he showed a lot of poise. He didn't play great. I thought the first half he was on point, second half, whatever. But I think he didn't turn the ball over, which is key. The first start against the Chargers, he had 2 fumbles and a pick and looked kind of a little shell-shocked, which is understandable. It's your first time, and you're going against Khalil Mack and Bosa. So I just think yesterday is much more poised. I thought he looked good.
All right, Vic, last thing I promise. Go back to the day this all went down last week, which was Monday night. I still don't get, and help me with the timeline, why you fire the coach and the GM but do it after the trade deadline. If you have this in your head that you might do it, why don't you do it in the morning and tell the guys you're getting out the door, you can't handle my trade deadline? Have someone else work it.
I don't think Mark had decided until after the deadline. I think he had a pretty good idea. Like he told himself that was kind of his deadline, see where they were going. I think that night of the game, he was pretty miserable. I thought in the morning he thought about it. I don't think he really decided until early afternoon. Because it's definitely, it's a huge pill to bite. And the contract. Plus, you want to give he told these guys to have a long time, like 2 or 3 years. And he meant that when he said it. He tried to have patience, but he didn't see it going in the right direction. So I do think it was a tough call for him. I think it took him most of that morning. And so I think at that point, why mess with the trade deadline if you really know who's going to be the GM in a couple hours? Why mess with you? I mean, kind of give the new guy, and now in case it's just the kind of old guy, Champ Kelly, but give him a chance to kind of see what he wants to do with this roster and not give him anything that's kind of in predetermined form.
Vic, we appreciate your insight, man. As always, it's going to be a little more fun the second half of the season. Enjoy it.
For sure, man. Cigars every week. Let's go.
Yeah. Try getting those out of your clothes every Monday. Well, you got to win, I guess, to do that. But maybe they will. Never know. Thanks, Vic. Vic Tafur from The Athletic.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.